Hi again, Kirby here from Grace Counseling Center, and we're here to continue on with the marriage and couples. Is it marriage and couples series? This is part two for communication styles. So we're back once again with restoring communication, particularly because from the previous video, I still stand on the thought that most conflicts happen because of miscommunication, right? Once miscommunication happens, you more or less disconnect the partnership of husband and wife, boyfriend and girlfriend, and things get mixed up in the process. You start misinterpreting your partner, then you put up a defensive stance. Why? Because you're now threatened, right? So the initial stance of love, both of you are in a loving relationship, has more or less been shaken, and your partner has now become a threat to you, which is quite funny, yet scary. So once your partner becomes a threat to you, you put up your defensive stance, and uh, you more or less start defending yourself, sometimes even by attacking the other person, right? So in the previous video, miscommunication happens because of difference in concepts, difference in definitions, right? So you can involve there the difference in symbolisms, and we expect all these subjectivities to be different from one person to the other, right? So once again, you may see money very differently. I may see money very differently. Your concept of privacy is different from my concept of privacy. Your concept of marriage may be different from my concept of marriage, and that is not a reason to dissolve the relationship, right? So it's grounds for us to clarify things so we can get back together like in the good old days, right? So I've been telling everyone, I remind all couples that you are dealing with someone you love. And I can guarantee you this, you are dealing with someone who loves you. So let's make that our starting ground. So for this session, I would say this video, it's still under miscommunication, but no longer we set aside the difference in concepts. This time, it's the difference in the communication style. It's the energy that the person projects. So I usually show my clients a spectrum from 1 to 10, ranging from 1, shortest distance, which is the direct energy people. They will stare you down, they will tell you what it is, jump to conflict resolution, settle things there. Very explosive. That's a number one. It's an extreme. The other extreme side is the distant one, distance of 10. These are the indirect communicators, the passive avoidant, I would say, passive avoidant, which I believe most men are resigning to right now. And I understand, man. Sometimes me and my wife, I sense some conflicts happening. I go to a 10 and I just say, sorry, I'm wrong. Let's get on with our evenings. So that's what pens do, right? So we avoid conflict by adopting a passive stance, give in, shut your mouths, salvage your evening. I can spend my time playing my games, reading my books. Whereas on the other side of the coin, just a reminder, the slider bar goes to 1 is a direct people. Sometimes we call them the supermarket people, right? They'll just scream and shout, trash things out, and it'll become too strong for the number 10s. So be aware of this spectrum, right? So of course, as a spectrum, there's a 2, there's a 3. At the midpoint is a 5, which I would say is adult communication. You can be assertive and direct, and yet not appear rude, not appear threatening, and at the same time, you are open to two-way channels, two-way communication channels, and things get resolved. So I would say in the realm of statistics, right? So we have a spectrum here. The two are opposite poles. They're opposite, and as an outlier, they're never healthy. It's always destructive. It's always destructive to be too strong, right? You tend to push people away. You discourage communication, and there's a problem with being too passive, right? So you let everything pass by. You say yes to everything. It works for the short term. I agree with this. It works for the short term. I've been doing it. The problem here is you become a walking time bomb. Resentments will start piling up until something breaks that stick. that's holding up the foundations there, and you start exploding. So, so the extremes are not healthy. By that reasoning, the mean score of 5.5 would be, I would say, the ideal. You're a balanced person, balanced communicator. Your energy is the adult energy. So you're not the parental energy where you talk down on people, and you're not the child energy where you just say yes, 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 yes without communicating, right? So, again, the direct people. Uh, Number one. So why are we here for? So understand that there's a spectrum. Number two, understand that it's learned. This is a personality trait. This is a style of functioning which we learned from our family background. So when it comes to the couples, right, I want to put some limiters for this one, scopes and limitations for this video, that we're dealing with couples who fight on a daily on almost on a daily basis. So what am I saying here? I'm pointing out that if you are in this relationship where fights happen almost on a daily basis because of petty things, and most of the time when you look back you don't understand why you guys end up fighting, then this video is for you, right? So again, I need to put some limiters nowadays. Yep. So because people will keep asking, what about for this, what about for that? This video is not meant for couples who are fighting because of a crisis. That's a different story, right? So common crisis, so say for example, uh, the wife is angry at the husband because she okay, fine, she caught him doing third party, having a third party relationship, and the wife is pissed at him, the wife is screaming at him, kick him out of the house. That's a different story. That's not about the energy levels, that's not about the styles of communication, right? So in that case, the husband placed himself in that position, and the wife has every right to be angry. So this is about everyday communication. Yeah, as little as the wife asking her husband, hey, where are you now? And the husband starts reacting immediately. Yeah, why are you asking, man? Yeah, you know I'm at work. Yeah, you know I'm not doing anything wrong. Uh, so you know I hate reporting to people. So that's how the husband reacts, and you can more or less see that there's a disparity, and I'm talking to couples with a disparity in their communication styles. Now, if both of you are one versus one, right, or one, both of you are direct communicators, then you would thrash things out in the open. It looks like war, but in the end, things get communicated, and you two can hug each other once again as friends. Yeah. However, if the two of you in the couple are both indirect, then both of you will attempt to have the relationship as smooth as possible, and nothing gets communicated. At least there's no fights. You've heard of relationships where there's no fights, right? My husband and I, my wife and I, we never fight. That also means nothing gets communicated, right? So that signals to me that both are indirect communicators, right? So, again, if you are a match to your partner regarding communication styles or energy levels, then this video is not for you. This video are for people who keep fighting every day, not knowing that they're dealing with someone with a different communication style. Now, let me explain for this one. I regard myself as an indirect, being a male, Asian male. I am an indirect, passive, avoidant communicator, right? Now, if my wife says something that hurt me as a macho man, I'll pretend not to hear it. It's nothing, man. We sweep things under the rug. There you go. Yep. So that's a passive communicator to you, right? And what do you know about passive communicator? If you're a passive communicator, now you could be male or female. I've seen females like this, and I've seen guys like this one. We always look like sheep to the slaughter. So we're quiet. And I understand this. Our main motive is to make things as smooth as possible. Number one. Why? Because number two, we have this belief that if we, and I'm going to use the word that's in our head, if we retaliate, things will escalate. And most guys know what happens when things escalate. It gets bloody, the police get called. So, we are quite sensitive on this one. So it's true for most guys, right? That I know I deal with here in Singapore. We know what it means to escalate things. We know what can happen. And I know what person I am when I get angry. I don't want to cross that line. So what I'm going to do, zip my mouth. Yes, dear. Yes, dear. Yes, dear. Things get heated up, heated up, heated up. And probably after 10 months of this nonsense, I'll start exploding once a year. Big fight. Then I go back to the cycle. Yes, dear. Yes, dear. Yes, dear. Yes, dear. So it's mostly guys. But females have this variation as well. Yeah. So again, not to discount females who try to keep everything as smooth as possible. So this is how indirect communicators look like. So how do we communicate? It doesn't mean that we don't communicate. Indirect communicators do communicate, but we communicate very, very subtly. We communicate in hints, using hints. Are you not hungry yet? Are you not hungry yet? Uh, I've been working for the whole week. That's my way of saying I'm tired. My wife will say, "Hey, let's go to the zoo this weekend." Like, I'm like, "Oh, I've been working for the whole week." So indirect communicators are very indirect, right? So again, we give hints, we grunt around, and we hope, we expect people to decode our messages, right? We expect people to decode our messages because that's what we do. If you tell us something, we will try to look for the second meaning, the third meaning, fourth meaning. Yeah. So every time my wife, who's a very direct person, she will ask me, "What time are you coming home tonight?" A direct communicator doesn't hide things. There's no hidden message. But for me, I'm an indirect communicator. So I would think, why is she asking me this? Is she saying that I'm not spending time for the family? Is she saying that uh, I'm putting more priority to my friends than her? Actually, no. For the direct communicators, they're not afraid of conflict. Uh, they're direct. There's no layers to what they're saying. I'm asking you because I want to prepare for dinner and I need to know how much heads I have to cook for. So what time are you coming home tonight, man? I don't really care if you say 12 a.m. or what. Just tell me, right? For the guys, like, hey, why is she asking this? So that's the direct and indirect communicator, right? So one thing that you can see here, check with your partner the disparity of your communication styles. If you're a direct communication style, chances are you will appear threatening to someone who is the indirect type, the hints and humor type, right? Sometimes it gets you annoyed that you cannot really. What do you mean by this? I'm asking if you want to eat out on a Saturday. That's always my example. Every day chit chats. Hey, want to eat out on Saturday? And they would say, "Oh, I have plenty things to work on." So the direct communicator is like, what does that mean? Right? What does that mean? So is that a yes or a no? Yeah. For the indirect communicator, I just told you I'm busy. I just told you, man. So again, there's a lot of rechanneling that has to happen there. So the interface direct people will take note of this. If you're a direct person, you're probably not aware of how strong you appear, how challenging you appear to us indirect people. Yeah. So just keep this in mind. When you ask us questions, it may seem like a challenge. So for us indirect people slash introverted, yeah, very, very sensitive bunch of people, it's not even a question that you're asking. You're actually probing me. It's a challenge to me. So I will put up my defenses and say, why are you asking this? Right? I'll twist around to avoid conflict, start humoring until the direct person will start wondering, what is this guy saying, man? Can't you just say yes for yes and no for no? Which is biblical, by the way. Yeah. So on the other side of the coin, for us indirect people, how how the direct people would wish that we just be direct to them. Yeah, that no, I'm tired. I don't want to go out today. The direct people, your spouse would be, oh, thank God, man, you finally expressed yourself. So that's where we're going today, right? For the direct people, just be sensitive about your stance. You may appear like too much of a parent, and if the one you're speaking to has parental issues, they will shrink up to their childhood self, just say yes while hating you. Just say yes to whatever you say while resenting you for it. So things can just move on. Yeah. So I'll just tell my wife, okay, okay, yeah, Singapore, okay lah. And we go out angry, thinking about my work, thinking about my time lost from work because I didn't communicate that to my wife. And here my wife thinking that we're having a good time. She's wondering what's wrong with me. And here I am wanting things to be smooth. I don't say anything. All right. So for the direct people, move the slider bar down a bit. Uh, Move down to the level of the indirect people. Check the communication styles. Right. That for them, a direct question may be a threat. It may be a challenge. So I suggest for the direct people to put in some introduction. Right? So I appreciate my wife for doing this. She would say, introduction. Before she asks, what time are you coming home? She will say, I'm preparing for dinner. So it's like speaking to a child. I'm preparing for dinner. I need to know the head count. So I need to know what time are you coming home. So like for me, it's like, oh, okay. So she's not challenging my whereabouts. Then I will start telling her, okay, I'll be home at 8, probably 9 p.m. So there. Yeah. Now for the indirect people, I have something for us as well. And I learned this. If you're dealing with a direct person, and I mentioned a while ago that, and I digressed. I mentioned a while ago that these are from childhood memories, right? It's trained since childhood. Check your partner on how they communicate with their siblings, how they communicate with their parents. And I've seen couples like this one, right? So from time to time, when my wife communicates with her sisters and her mom, it's always shouting, debates. Then they'll hug each other afterwards. Yeah. And that's the communication style that she's used to. Very direct, very high energy. And she's bringing it into our marriage, right? Now, as threatening as that may sound, I have to be aware of this, that she doesn't mean any harm, she doesn't mean any malice, she doesn't mean any challenge when she's communicating to me in this manner. So the tip for the indirect people, is not to be afraid to be more direct. If you're dealing with a direct person, you know why? Because I can tell you for now that they will appreciate it. They won't get offended. They ask you a straight question, you give them a straight answer, like, I don't really want to go, I'm tired, I've been working the whole week, and I just want to rest this weekend. They would say, thank you for being clear. Thank you for being straight. For us, we don't really say this because what if they get offended with what I say? What if they get angry from what I'm going to say? So you're dealing with a direct marketplace person. You can even use your potty mouth and stuff, and for them it's like, oh, okay, nothing wrong there, right? Yeah. So again, with the slider bar, I hope it makes it clearer, right? That number tens or indirect people can use to be more direct, not to be used more direct, not expecting for the other party to be offended, not expecting the other party to retaliate. There's no such thing. Again, this is a loving relationship. We don't even call it conflict resolution. This one is simply discussion and communicating, clarifying things, clearing things up. You're clearing. It's called a clearing. You clear things up. So we're just clearing things up. And again, this is the one thing I like about the direct people. They're hardly offended. Yeah. So again, when deal, it's now you can see, right? It's quite annoying if you're a direct person. It's quite annoying to deal with someone who's indirect. They beat around the bush. They're there. Do you want to go out? Oh yeah, I have many things to do. Do you want to go out? Yeah, I'm quite tired. Yes or no, man. So in this case, say yes for yes and no for no. I will put the verse there. It just came out right now. Now, I would say, biblically speaking, it's good to be clearer. But indirect people do not know. Trust me, we're not aware that we're not being clear. So there. So go easy on us, direct people. Yeah, go easy on us because for us, a question can be a threat, and if you threaten us, things can escalate. So have a good introduction to communicate that. Hey man, I'm just clarifying things. I am just asking, and let's see where this relationship goes. So okay, for the direct people, draw out the indirect. It's okay to express. It's okay to say no, man. It's all right to say no. You can say no to me. Tell this to your partners, okay, to draw them out. For the indirect people, yeah, so forget about not appearing a threat. Forget about not causing World War III. The direct people can handle it. So okay, so I hope this one blesses everyone. It's a 20 minutes again, so sorry for this. All right. And so anything else, leave it in the comments or drop me an email. Right. God bless you. God bless your relationship.